there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another video. The women you attract are a reflection of you. There's a saying called like attracts like. And if you really observe couples out here, they either look like brother and sister, at least the better couples, or they look similar as far as body build, even facial features. And, and there are exceptions, because I know somebody will say, well, I seen this real big old guy with this slim woman. This is an art, not a science. I speak on tendencies and likelihoods. And indeed, if most of y'all really think about the women you got along with the best, there was some similarity somewhere. There was always, because as I said before in a video, what's the root, several times, what's the root word of relationship? Relate. And see, deep down, people look for someone they can relate to. And that's usually someone who is similar. And it's on multiple levels. Okay, I mentioned a physical thing, how, if you get somebody who's endomorphic, they likely to attract endomorphic women. A guy who's endomorphic. If he's more athletic build, mesomorphic, he's likely to attract that woman. And if he's more ectomorphic, more slimmer, he will have a tendency to attract slimmer women. And even with the facial features, they will tend to be similarities. Tend. Now, I have to emphasize that, because usually if I talk about something like this, well, I've seen this other thing. Okay, 1 out of what? 1,000? 2,000? Whatever. Don't tell me you see it all the time. In some communities, they'll call it just being looks matched. Okay, that's one. That's one. So if you like, and I even brought that up because I have some guys hit me up and they'll say they want a 7, but they keep attracting 5s. Well, they need to work themselves up to a 7 themselves. You attract who you are. And it gets even deeper. That's just the superficial physical thing. On another level, it's the social thing. Like you have, you get a lot of talk about Pookie and Ray Ray. When you see a woman with some thug type of dude, check her background. Check her background. I don't care what type of suit she wear, what kind of clothes. She's probably on that level. When you get some woman, if she's going for a thug, she got something in her. She got some street in her. Or if that woman is more bourgeois, she's more upper class. Upper middle class, upper class, rich, she would tend to go for a similar type of man socially. And then I've always talked about, religions. A lot of women, they will be attracted to that guy who's a similar religion. Subculture's everything, right? Now, they're attracted to it because that's what the guy is broadcasting to her. See, women, they go for a guy of some similarity. That's always. And they deep down look for what's inside of them. That's when you get a little deep. Carl Jung would call it anima and animus. So when a woman's looking at a guy, she's looking for a guy who matches her animus, just like men will subconsciously look for a woman who matches their anima. And you just think about it, just go ahead and look. And it's amazing. It's amazing. So you got those two levels, but then even another level is just personality, temperament, compatibility. You will tend to attract someone who's complementary. Now, I've often talked about the house of the man. Let's go through that real quick. So you got the warrior. The warrior is that type is more paternal, more protective. The type of woman that he will naturally attract to him, if he's giving off that paternal energy, he will naturally attract a woman who's giving off maternal energy. Just naturally. So he's giving off that broadcast. If he gives off that thing that he's more intellectual, he will tend to attract women who are more on that intellectual thing. And I'm going to get into that in a second, why there can seem to be problems. If you talk about a man who's more business, he's on that hustle, he would tend to attract women who are on that hustle as well. And if the man's a party man, he will tend to attract party girls. Okay. Now here's the problem. I alluded to there could be a problem. Let's use that intellectual example. Plenty of guys who are more on that intellectual tip, more thinking tip, they will attract that type of woman. Only problem is that attraction is using that physical, which is why a lot of guys have problems. See, you got a lot of these, biggest issue with relationships is just incompatibility. Incompatibility and then unrealistic expectations. That it's unrealistic. They're compatible to begin with, but then unrealistically think it's going to work. They don't have any similarities. And the biggest issue is maybe not being physically attracted to a particular person, even though that woman will tend to be physically attracted to you. So it's like I said, it's more of an art, not an exact science. But here's the thing to understand with it. If a man, many men complaining about the women they do attract. Hey, they want the hotties, they want the baddies and all of that. That might not be you. That might not be you because you're not giving off a broadcast. You're not broadcasting something to get that particular baddie. You might be more that paternal guy, so you're going to attract that more maternal woman. And this don't necessarily mean she ain't physically attractive, got to kill her body. Shoot, a lot of maternal women got to kill her body. But since they maternal, they come off more as that soccer mom. They're going to dress more like a mom. Or if you get that businesswoman type, oh, she might have the physical features just on a pure physical level, but she ain't going to fix up the same way as the party girl. And then the intellectual woman, she's more serious minded, so she ain't going to fix up the same way. You see where it is? You see what it is? But here's the thing. A man, regardless of how and why the woman going for you, you got control over it. That's my whole point. So if you getting a certain type of woman, you need to look at in the mirror, not at the women. A lot of guys are complaining about the woman. See, if you got 20, if a guy say, well, I ran into 20 women and they were this, this, and this, you know, bad, terrible, and all of that, the only thing those women had in common was you. That's the only thing. So when you change yourself, you change the women. I've done that in my own life. I was seeing I was attracting a certain type, so I just changed myself. And then started attracting women who are compatible with who I was. Now, somebody might try to get smart and say, hey, you changing for the women. No, you changing for yourself to have control over the type of women that you are going to entertain. See, that's the beauty of it. You got total control. So if you're attracting a certain type or you want to attract a certain type, you have the choice of, well, really just changing to who you are or just understanding like who you're attracting and why, because it might be a bad thing. If you're attracting a bunch of crazy women who trying to play you or they see you as a mark, you got to ask yourself, what are you broadcasting out to these women? You know, you might have that trick energy. So it's like, oh, well, you got to change that up to attract women who are actually going to deal with you straightforward, and they are going to be really down for who you are. Understand that. See, by understanding that it's within you, it's nothing a woman can do. You can attract the type of women that you want because this is what you're broadcasting. So you got to look within. See, don't sit around blaming the women. They just responded. They just responded because I've had this and I've talked to some other men. They carried themselves a certain way. The bad ones stayed away from them. Because I can't really tell you about, I got to think hard. Really, some women really trying to play me for money or seeing me as a mark because I give off that broadcast like I ain't playing that shit. So they keep their distance. Less attractive women keep their distance because of the broadcast that I give off. Anybody can do that. So always understand that, all right? Always understand that. I want you to really think about it. Look in the mirror. Look in the mirror. Shout out C Boogie. Have that mirror talk. What is it within you that's attracting? Because they only going to be a reflection of you. Indeed, you can tell, I can tell a lot about somebody by who they're dealing with and who they're attracting. If I see the types that they're attracting, I'm like, okay. Because here's something else about who you attract and who you want within. It's totally selfish. You can't really hide that. You can try, you can say something, but it will tell you more about the person. All right? So anyway, That's all I have for today, and I'll get back with y'all. Peace and blessings.